Universal Orlando, over the past decade or so, has made it their mission to get rid of a lot of live entertainment at Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios Florida. From Sinbad to Fear Factor to Beetlejuice, they've gotten rid of a lot of shows and live entertainment offerings that previously existed at the park without replacing them with new live entertainment options. And for a while, it seemed like Universal maybe was discounting the importance of live entertainment altogether, as after all, Islands of Adventure, even in its current state right now, doesn't even have a sit-down show, for crying out loud. But when it comes to Epic Universe opening this year, Universal is not making the same mistake. They are investing heavily in live entertainment, and in fact, Universal is taking live entertainment to a level they've never done so before, not only at their existing Orlando parks, but even across their entire park portfolio worldwide, with many live entertainment offerings rivaling even that of what Disney has offered in the past. Plainly put, each of the 5 lands that this park is going to open with are going to come equipped with some sort of live entertainment offerings that either are just as good as what Universal's done before, or are blowing out of the water anything that Universal has ever produced before. And what better place to represent this improvement and step up in Universal's game than the Wizarding World of Harry Potter Ministry of Magic. Here, the core live entertainment offering will be a sit-down show named Les Cirque Arcanu, which is already notable in that regard because Universal has never done a sit-down show for Harry Potter. Every show they've put together for Harry Potter has been some form of streetmosphere. It's something that happens on the side of the main pathway, and these are all still very good shows and very entertaining, but ultimately they are very limited in scope, special effects, and ultimately production value. This will be the first time that Universal really gets to go all out on a Harry Potter show, and you know, with it being Harry Potter, they are going to spare no expense. Of course, this show is themed to the circus that appears in the second Fantastic Beasts film, The Crimes of Grindelwald, and of course, with the show taking place in that universe, of course, the Fantastic Beasts have to appear properly themselves, with the show's storyline being that the ringmaster of this circus has stolen Newt Scamander's suitcase and is letting a whole bunch of fantastic beasts and creatures roam about the stage and cause chaos, with the story culminating in a circus employee rising above her station to take down the ringmaster and release these creatures from this grip that the ringmaster is putting on them. And with magic, wizardry, circus stunts, and of course Fantastic Beasts on full display, this show is going to feature aerialists, puppetry, special effects, lighting, and illusions like you've never seen before. The show will also feature a queue/waiting area outside of the main theater itself that will have plenty of hidden details and Easter eggs for all Harry Potter fans. Simply put, this is going to be the must-see show at Epic Universe. It's going to blow your mind. And of course, I would be remiss if I did not mention, of course, the most obvious form of entertainment outside of this big top tent, that being, of course, the interactive wand elements of this land. Given the size and scale of this land and the fact that the buildings are taller than most of the buildings in any other parts of Universal, period, the size here is huge. There's going to be so much real estate for Universal to work with to deliver on cool and engaging interactive wand experiences. And even from just the concept videos that we've seen, we already know there's going to be plenty of windows throughout this land to swish and flick your wand at, including this one that delivers a Niffler coming out of a suitcase. And we also know there are plenty of windows inside the Ministry of Magic itself. I'm sure there's going to be some really cool interactive elements in there as well. But the live entertainment of Harry Potter and this land might not just end quite there, as right now Universal is trying out this new concept over in Universal Studios Hollywood that's called Fan Fest Nights. And a part of that, there are new meet and greets being added to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. As we know, in Hogsmeade and Diagon Alley, there's really not that many meet and greets as a part of the Harry Potter world. But perhaps, with the majority of this land taking place in Wizarding Paris, as featured in the Fantastic Beasts film, perhaps this could offer an opportunity for meet and greets to actually become a much larger staple of the land. As of course, J.K. Rowling has a strong grip on the characters and refuses, some random Joe Schmo to play the character in the park for a meet and greet, so you can't have Hagrid or Harry or Ron or Hermione go out and make a meet and greet, but you can have a magical creature come and make a meet and greet. As in Hollywood, they're going to have several Fantastic Beasts on display for meet and greets, including the Akami. I hope I'm saying that right. Please don't crucify me in the comments if I got that wrong. But this looks like it's going to be a really cool, massive puppet that's going to be controlled by an actual team member. And that's what most of these are going to be. They're going to be puppets controlled by team members, including a Niffler and a baby dragon, both of which we've already seen over in Universal Studios Japan. Now, obviously, as you can see here, the Niffler is not directly controlled by a team member, but remotely controlled, as it is indeed an animatronic, whereas the baby dragon is your traditional puppet that be controlled very similarly to how the baby raptor or baby triceratops is controlled over at Islands of Adventure. Either way, between these meaningful meet and greets and an actual sit-down show, it seems that Universal is actually addressing all of the flaws and potholes that they currently have in the two existing Harry Potter lands. For as great as they are, these are two things that those lands have not done before and have not really excelled in either. So these are clearly great ways to kind of fill in the gaps of the entire Wizarding World of Harry Potter sort of lexicon at Orlando and really make sure that it is an entire and complete experience. Speaking of complete experiences, if we move on over to Dark Universe, straight across the path from the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, what we'll find is that though Dark Universe doesn't have a proper sit-down show, it does have perhaps the greatest collection and greatest diversity in meet and greet experiences of any of these lands. As one would expect, of course, you can meet several of the Universal monsters, including the Bride of Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster, who will share a meet and greet location. You'll also be able to meet the Invisible Man and Igor, who of course is Dr. Frankenstein's assistant. These characters, though, won't have a permanent location. Instead, will be roaming freely throughout the land, which is, again, not necessarily something that Universal has really done. It's not even really something that's very common at the Orlando parks. Typically, characters have a very stationed location, and that's where you go ahead and meet them. This is mainly sort of a West Coast thing where you have characters sort of roaming freely throughout the park. It'll be interesting to see how that ends up being executed with the Invisible Man and Igor walking freely throughout the land and how that adds to the immersion of the land. But regardless of how that exactly is executed, I can tell you right now that the Invisible Man is going to be the meet and greet experience of your life. It's going to be the meet and greet experience of this park. That character, if they put the right team member in that costume, oh my god, he delivers the best maniacal speeches of any character in all of fiction. He is hilarious, he is threatening, he is ominous, and having him run around this land screaming at the top of his lungs saying he's going to conquer the world is the theme park moment you've been waiting for. Don't miss it. And though it hasn't been announced, I do fully expect that there will be some more characters that will eventually make their presence known in the land through meet and greets. Perhaps Dracula, Wolfman, and maybe some other characters as well might make appearances. But as far as what else has been confirmed, we know on the complete opposite side of the spectrum is that you'll be able to meet monster hunters in the Burning Blade Tavern. Perhaps the only meet and greet in all of Orlando that happens in a restaurant that won't cost you like $70. And unlike other characters throughout this park and throughout most parks in Orlando, if we're being honest, these characters won't just be there to sit there and take a picture and say hi. They'll also be divulging valuable lore and information about the land that will further build immersion with the guests in the land, and it will also just make for a much more exciting and interesting experience that you don't typically get with most meet and greets where you're shoveled out of there as soon as you've taken your picture. These guys, on the other hand, will more than likely be more than willing to have a long-standing conversation with you if you want to. On the flip side of that is the final form of live entertainment in this land, with a character that likely won't talk to you at all, that being these violinists who will be appearing throughout the land, playing beautiful yet ominous music, and of course adding to the overall atmosphere of this bone-chilling land. And given the fact that, of course, the Universal monsters don't really have an iconic musical theme behind them, unlike the other lands in this park, like Harry Potter, which has the famous John Williams score, How to Train Your Dragon, that has the famous John Powell score, and Super Nintendo World, which of course has the famous Mario music from the video games, the Universal Classic Monsters don't really have that. So having live performers in the land playing music that's unique to the land and actually adds to the atmosphere is a genius decision that's really going to take this land to new heights that we haven't seen before. So with that land done and over with, let's pop on over to Super Nintendo World, where yes, we already know quite a bit of what's coming here because of course the land already exists in Japan and Hollywood, there are still some new things and some new tricks that this land could pull up its sleeve. With, of course, its main form of live entertainment being, of course, the meet and greets. There are several meet and greets throughout this land, with, of course, Mario and Luigi being the main one. Then you have Princess Peach, Toad, who's become a fan favorite at the other Universal parks, though don't ask him to dance or else he will lose his mind. Donkey Kong, who was just recently announced who will be making a meet and greet appearance in the Donkey Kong Country section of Super Nintendo World, and oh my god, he looks amazing. I mean, the movement on this guy is absurd. He's a massive meet and greet character. This guy is gonna have lines at the wazoo. I'm telling you, man, this guy is cool. This is a cool meet and greet character. But beyond that, I do think there's also the possibility, if we look back at Universal Studios Hollywood's Fan Fest nights, on top of Harry Potter, they're also going to have some new meet and greets for Super Nintendo World. That new meet and greet being a Yoshi meet and greet. Now, Yoshi has not been a meet and greet character in any of these Super Nintendo World lands yet up to this point, but we've seen him already in Universal Studios Japan as a part of a parade over there. So we know what the character looks like. We know he's coming to Hollywood. I think there's a very good chance we could see him in Orlando in short order as well. Beyond the meet and greets, you also have another form of very special and unique entertainment, that being the power-up bands, which in a sense are very similar to the interactive wands over in Harry Potter. It's this paid-for experience, true, but here you get to actually play in several different mini games with this power-up band throughout the land. And I mean, of course, it's a land based on a video game. Of course, we gotta have some interactive games in this land. And in fact, there are going to be 5 mini games that you can play on a base level. Those being Goomba Crazy Crank, Koopa Troopa Power Punch, Piranha Plant Nap Mishap, Ba-Bomb Kaboom Room, and finally, Thwomp Panel Panic. If you beat 3 of these using your power-up band, you will then get access to the final boss, that being Bowser Jr.'s Shadow Showdown. Meaning that yes, just between the meet and greets and these games in Super Nintendo World, you could spend majority of your day just hanging out in this land, doing just those things and not doing anything else. That is how much entertainment there is to do in Super Nintendo World. But that being said, I think there is one land in this park that not only has Super Nintendo World beat, but has every land in this park beat in live entertainment by a country mile. That land being How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Berk. Of course, the most notable piece of live entertainment in this land is going to be the Untrainable Dragon, the second sit-down show in this park. And as you can see, based on the footage on screen, I have gone ahead and snuck into Epic Universe and into one of their test screens, their rehearsals of the show, and film it for you to put it up right here on YouTube. Don't tell anyone though. I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding. This show actually already exists over in Universal Studios Beijing, and it has been really well received over there. So needless to say, we're in for a treat here in Orlando. The show features a mix of live stage performers as well as animatronics and puppets to convey the story that is, well, very similar to the story that's told in the original How to Train Your Dragon film. However, is technically a new chapter. So, hey, if you're a How to Train Your Dragon fan, there's something new for you here, absolutely. But as you can see, not only is the show incredibly charming and unique in Universal's lineup, they've never really done anything like this at the existing Orlando theme parks, but it also happens to be a massive technical achievement for Universal, as it features some awe-inspiring moments like when Toothless is flying above the audience, right above them. I mean, this dude is over 1,000 pounds and his wingspan is over 27 feet and he's just going to be flying right over you with an actor on his back. Incredible stuff to see in person, no doubt. But on top of that show, How to Train Your Dragon has a lot more going on, especially if you look up towards the sky, as there are going to be drones dressed up to look like dragons flying over the land, further building immersion and making you really feel like you are indeed in a world where dragons exist and they are just living among the regular people. But the live entertainment doesn't stop there, as of course there will be meet and greets with several of the Vikings from the film, including Hiccup, but more importantly, there will be meet and greets with the dragons in this land. Now, Universal Studios Hollywood has had a Toothless meet and greet in the past. It wasn't the best looking thing in the world, but Universal has really stepped up their game since then. And through footage captured by news helicopters, we've been able to find that there actually are going to be animatronic dragons roaming around this land for meet and greets, while larger dragons will likely have animatronic elements, but will be mainly controlled via puppetry, and will likely look very similar to Blue over in Jurassic Park. With, of course, the most articulate dragon of the bunch more than likely being Toothless, who is going to have his own meet and greet location with Hiccup. And just when you thought that you got your fill of live entertainment through these 4 immersive lands, the main hub is going to hit you with the massive 1-2 knockout punch to end your day with a nighttime spectacular like Universal has never done before. You see, Universal has always been rather handicapped when it comes to nighttime shows because the 2 existing parks are built right next to residential areas, meaning that those parks have to abide by noise ordinances that are a lot more strict than, say, the Disney parks have, which are built in the middle of nowhere. Epic Universe, on the other hand, will have the distinct advantage of not being near any residential areas, meaning that they don't have to worry about being quiet or not being able to put off as many fireworks as they want to. They can go buck wild with their nighttime show here. And through footage that we've seen of them testing this show at the park, yeah, we can see it's going to be an absolute cacophony of fireworks going off in this show. Something that, again, Universal has never been able to do before. But this, complete onslaught of fireworks is even more intense than you might think, because there are actually 3 different points from which fireworks are going to be going off. It's not just from behind the Grand Helios Hotel that fireworks are going to be going off. It's also going to be coming off of the backside of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter and Dark Universe, meaning that we're going to be seeing fireworks coming up from all angles in this nighttime show. Of course, the main location they want you to watch the nighttime show is from right outside of Grand Helios Hotel, surrounding this sort of lagoon, as there is going to be also a fountain element of this show with water being shooting up in the air that's going to be going alongside the music and a sort of lighting and projections, and of course the fireworks that are all being put together to create this really spectacular send-off to the night here at Epic Universe. We've seen Universal put their creative might to the test with nighttime shows in the past, whether it be in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter or in the Universal Studios Florida Lagoon, but they've always been restricted by the noise ordinances and the space in which they have to work with. But this area has been built specific for a nighttime show, and they don't have to worry about noise ordinances, so we're finally going to be able to see them go crazy with their creativity and really be able to go nuts without any restrictions and being completely let off the leash. This show is really going to blow your mind. So go ahead and let me know in the comments what piece of live entertainment you're most excited for. And if you want to hear more about the best ride coming to Epic Universe, go ahead and click the video on your screen right now, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.